Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on Building Material and Construction 18 CV 34. Myself Professor Vijayalakshmi, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, KLS VDIT, Haliyar. So let's start with the today's discussion on the second module, lecture number 14. These are the course content covered in this today's lecture. Introduction to the shallow foundation, different types of shallow foundation such as spread footing, combined footing, staff footing, raft or mat foundation, and its type and need of providing such type of foundation will be discussed. So these are the learning outcome. After this lecture, the student will have a better understanding of types of shallow foundation such as spread, combined, strap, raft or mat foundation, which is provided in the construction of different types of structures. So this falls under the Bloom's taxonomy L1 and L2. These are the course content covered in the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, functions and requirement of good foundation, the causes of failure of good foundation, and the different types of foundation such as shallow and deep foundation were discussed. So in this today's lecture, different types of foundation which has to be considered for the shallow foundation. The foundation is said to be shallow if its depth is equal to or less than its width, as per the statement given by the Terzaghi. So in this, according to the Terzaghi, the foundation is said to be shallow if its depth is equal to or less than its width. A shallow foundation is also known as an open foundation. Since such foundation is constructed by open excavation, hence those foundations which have depth or a depth equal greater than its width, but are constructed to by way of open excavation also come under shallow foundation. The term footing is commonly used in conjunction with the shallow foundation. A footing is a foundation unit constructed in brickwork, masonry or concrete under the base of a wall or a column for the purpose of distributing the load over a large area. So the point of view of design, footings are classified into four types: spread footing, combined footing, strap foundation, mat or the raft foundation. So a spread footing is one which supports either one wall or one column. The spread footing may have different types. Stiff footing, it is a spread footing for a wall. Pad footing, it is isolated footing for a column. When a spread footing supports the load of more than one column or wall, it is called as combined footing or staff footing. A mat foundation is a foundation unit continuous in two directions covering an area equal to or greater than the base area of the building. So next are the what are the different types of foundations provided. So in case of deep foundation, foundation is said to be deep if its depth is equal to or greater than its width. So deep strip, rectangular or a square footing, pile foundation, pier foundation and well foundation is provided. So let's start with the shallow foundation in this lecture. So first one is the spread footing. So in case of spread footing, a spread footing for a single column is either known as isolated footing or a pad footing. So in case of spread footing, these are the types of footing which spread the superimposed load of wall or column over a large area. Spread footing supports either a column or wall. Spread footing may be of following kind. So single footing for a column, stepped footing for a column, sloped footing for a column, wall footing without stepped footing for wall, and grillage foundation. So you can see the different types of spread footing in this slide. it is sloped, and in the second one it is a rectangular, and here it is a square one. So you can see the strip footing. So when the strip footing is provided, so in case of construction of spread footing, you come across a single footing for a column in which the load is applied over an area B by B of a column and has spread through a size of capital B by B through a single spread. The base is generally made of concrete. For a heavily loaded column which require greater spread, the base of the column which is made of concrete for having a uniform thickness, but in some cases it will be sloped with a greater thickness at its junction with the column and a smaller thickness at the end, and it consists of a concrete base without step. Usually the masonry wall have stepped footing as shown in this figure. You can see the stepped footing, so without step and with step. So you can see in this slide without step. So before going for the grillage foundation, where has to be the spread footing is provided. So under which consideration the spread footing is provided. So as per the code book and codal provision and as per the Terzaghi, when the load is acting over an intensity, so which is given by Q, and safe bearing capacity of the soil, when the load carries light loads or when the safe bearing capacity is very high, the width of the footing found will be very small. In such condition, a simple stiff footing has to be provided. The wall directly rests on the concrete base, and no masonry offsets are provided or spread is not required. Hence, the concrete base should project out by the value called as A on either side of the wall. So in case of stepped footing, when the wall carries heavy load or when the safe bearing capacity of the soil is not very high, the base width required will be much greater than T plus 2A. In such case, it is essential to provide a masonry offset to achieve larger spread before the load is transferred to the concrete base. The height and width of offset should be so proportioned that the rate of spread does not exceed the permissible value of the masonry structure. So next is the grillage foundation. So in case of grillage foundation, different things has to be provided here. So in this case, the grillage foundation is a special type of footing or special type of isolated footing generally provided for heavily loaded steel stanchion, especially in those locations where bearing capacity of the soil is very poor. The depth of the foundation is limited from 1 meter to 1.5 meter. The load of the column or the stanchion is distributed or spread to a very large area by means of layer or tiers of joist, each tier being replaced at right angle, which is placed at right angle to the next tier. So in case of grillage foundation, steel grillage foundation and timber grillage foundation can be provided. So in case of steel grillage foundation, the foundation is constructed of a steel beam, structurally known as rolled steel joist, provided in two or more tiers. In case of double tier grillage, the top tier of the grillage beam is laid at a right angle to the bottom tier. The joist or the beam of each tier are held in position by 20 mm diameter spacer bar with 25 mm diameter pipe separator. So in this figure you can see the plan and the section of the foundation. The grillage beam are embedded in the concrete. It is embedded in the concrete. The minimum clearance of 8 cm is kept between the grillage beam so that concrete can be easily poured and properly compacted. The distance between flanges should not exceed 30 cm or 1.5 times the flange width, so that the filled concrete act monolithically with the beam. It should be noted that the concrete filling does not carry any load. It simply keeps the beam in position and prevents the corrosion. The minimum concrete cover of 10 cm is kept on outer side of the external beam as well as upper flanges of the top tier. The depth of the concrete below the lower tier should at least be 15 cm. So in case of timber grillage foundation is provided for heavily loaded timber columns or masonry wall. The foundation uses timber planks or the timber beam in place of steel joist. This type of foundation is especially useful in waterlogged areas where bearing power of the soil is very low and where the steel beams may get corroded due to the subsoil water. The loading on the soil is limited to 50 to 60 kN per meter square. No concrete is embedded between the timber joist. The bottom concrete, which is provided in the steel foundation, is placed by a timber platform and after excavating the foundation of the desired depth and leveling it, the bottom layer of the plank 5 to 7.5 cm thick, 20 to 30 cm wide is laid. The planks are arranged side by side without any gap between them. Over this platform, a tier of wooden beam about 15 by 10 cm in size, spaced 30 to 50 cm apart, is laid at right angle to the direction of the plank. Over the top of this layer, a timber beam of same section as that of the wood post is placed at right angle. The timber post is then fixed at right angle to the timber beam. The foundation consists of two layers of the wooden plank separated by a rectangular section. The upper layer of the plank, which is placed side by side, may be 7.5 to 10 cm thick, extending over the full width of the wall base and running longitudinally along the wall. The lower layer of the plank may be 5 to 7.5 cm thick, placed longitudinally along the wall. The lower layer of the timber plank and also the middle tier of the timber beam should extend at least 45 to 60 cm on either side of the wall footing base. So this is the figure you can see here, how the grillage foundation is constructed and how it is placed. So next is the combined footing. So in case of combined footing, which is supported with two columns, is one of the footing which is supported by two columns. If the footing supports more than two columns, it is known as continuous footing. A combined footing is provided under the following circumstance: when the columns are very near to each other so that their footing overlap, when the bearing capacity of the soil is less, requiring more area under individual footing, when the end column is near a property line so that its footing cannot spread in that direction. A combined footing may be a rectangular or a trapezoidal in shape. So during the designing, to get a uniform pressure distribution under the footing, the center of gravity of the foundation area should coincide with the center of gravity of the combined loads of the two columns. If the outer column near the property line carries heavier load, provision of trapezoidal column becomes essential to bring the centroidal of the footing in line with the centroidal of the two columns. In other case, rectangular footing may be provided. You can see in this figure how the rectangular footing and how the trapezoidal footing is provided. So in case of combined rectangular footing of RCC, a rectangular footing of RCC consists of reinforced concrete slab which is designed for both longitudinal bending as well as the transverse bending. If the distance between the column is large, the longitudinal beam may be provided joining columns. So the longitudinal beam may be provided either below the footing slab or it may be project above the slab. So in case of combined trapezoidal footing, when the two columns when the two column loads are unequal, with the outer column carrying heavier load and where there is a space limitation beyond the outer column, the trapezoidal combined footing is provided. So when the trapezoidal footing is provided, when the two columns carry unequal load. So you can see in this figure how the trapezoidal footing is provided, plan as well as the elevation. So next is the strap footing. So in case of strap footing or the cantilever footing, it is also called as cantilever footing. The strap footing consists of or it comprises of two or more footing of individual column connected by a beam called as strap. When a column is near or right next to the property line, a square or the rectangular footing concentrically loaded under the column should extend into the adjoining property, which may not be permissible. In such case, the trapezoidal combined footing may be an alternative way of construction. But if the distance between the column and the adjoining column is large, the combined trapezoidal footing will be quite narrow with a high bending moment. In such case, the strap footing may be provided. The strap beam consisting of spread footing of two columns does not remain in contact with the soil and thus does not transfer any pressure to the soil. The strap assumed to be infinitely rigid served to transfer the load column onto the soil with equal and uniform pressure under both the footing. The individual footing areas are so arranged that centered of the combined loads of the two columns pass through the combined centroid of two footing areas. So next is the raft for foundation. So when this type of foundation is provided, the raft or the mat is a combined footing that cover the entire area beneath the structure and supports all the walls and column. When the allowable soil pressure is low or the building loads are heavy, the use of spread footing would cover more than one half the area, and it may prove more economical to use mat or the raft foundation. They are also used under the soil mass containing compressible lenses of soil in such condition. They are also used where the soil mass contains compressible lenses or the soil is sufficiently erratic so that the differential settlement would be difficult to control. The mat or the raft tend to bridge over the erratic deposits and eliminates the differential settlement. So after that, the raft foundation can also be provided. It means it also needed to reduce the settlement on a highly compressible soil by making the weight of the structure and raft approximately equal to the weight of the soil excavated. So here, if the soil spacing is large or the column loads are heavy, thickness bands may be provided along the column line in both the direction. These bands are called main and the secondary beams. So if the loads are extremely heavy, two away grid structures made of cellular construction may be provided. Where basement are to be provided, the basement walls to be used as rib or the deep beams. The raft often rests directly on the soil or rock. It may also rest on the pile. Ordinarily, rafts are designed as reinforced concrete flat slab. If the center of gravity of load coincide with the center of the raft, the upward load is regarded as uniform pressure equal to the downward load divided by the area of the raft. So the weight of the raft is not considered in the structural design because it is assumed to carry directly to the subsoil. Since this method does not take into account moments and shear caused by the differential settlement, it is necessary to reinforce the raft more heavily than the required according to the analysis. So these are the different types of mat foundation provided at the site. Like this it will be provided at the site. In case of raft foundation or the mat foundation, what happens here? So the minimum concrete which is covered for 10 centimeter is kept on the outer surface of the footing. So you can see here in this figure. So in case of shallow foundation, it is a type of building foundation that transfer building loads to the earth very near to the surface rather to the subsoil or the subsurface layer or a range of depth as a deep foundation. To distribute the structural load over a wide horizontal area at a shallow depth below the ground level, spread footing are structural member used to support column and wall and to transmit and distribute their load to the soil. Combined footing protect the foundation for settling down beyond the permissible limit. Combined footing is basically a combination of various footing which utilize the properties of different footing in a single footing based on the requirement of the structure. Staff footing used to distribute the weight of either heavily or eccentrically loaded column footing to adjacent footing. A staff footing is often used in conjunction with columns that are loaded along a building property line. Grillage foundation helps in distributing the load over a wide area of the subsoil. This foundation helps in avoiding deep excavation as the necessary base area is provided for the load of the transmission. The depth of the foundation is limited from 1 to 1.5 meter. The raft foundation is often used when the soil is weak and as it distributes the weight of the building over the entire area of the building and not over the smaller zone. This reduces the stress on the soil. Next is the reference links provided here. You can go through it. Thank you.